All right. Mic check. Can you hear me? Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the AI Genomics Hackathon. We're truly excited to have you all here. So, this hackathon is, we all know already that this hackathon is more than just a competition. It's a mission to reimagine how Africa and how science is taught, shared, and understood across Africa. We're bringing together brilliant minds across tech, science, and art and storytelling. So, because solving big problems requires diverse thinking. So, I mean, you must have all been wondering why genomics hackathon? Because understanding DNA helps us fight diseases, prepare for future outbreaks, and improve healthcare across communities. So, um, then what is the hackathon all about? So, we are bringing you guys on board to work on a scientific discovery. So, I think as the session goes down, you will understand fully what we're talking about here. So, uh, then over the next few days, you won't just be building projects, you will be building ideas that could impact classrooms, labs, and life. So before I move on, I would like to confirm if Dio is on board before I do the proper handover. Dio, okay. So since Dio is now on the call, I'll just go on. Oh, okay. So apologies for the delay. I can notice that not everybody is online. So if your friends and your colleague, you can reach out to them to come online as well to join the meeting. We're only having 30 people here currently. So, and new rules for the day. If you want to ask a question or you need to use your mic, use the reaction emoji, the ones that you can just click on the reaction and raise your hand. So you'll be granted permission to speak. Thank you very much. And, yeah. Okay. So uh, we already have 32 people on board. So uh, you can reach out to your fellow team members if they are not on the call. Just tell them to come on board because yeah, it's definitely going to affect your progress through this hackathon. So I'll quickly run you through the briefing of what is going to happen today before we have our honorable mentor to take over from me. So now, to start with, we'll be giving you a quick review, overview of genomics because yeah, that is one of the major important of this hackathon, and you have to understand what it's all about. Then, why or what are you building with genomics and the XR AI implementation tools? Also, we'll also look into the first look at what your challenges is going to be and what you're simulating over the course of the hackathon. Then after that, we'll move down to the quick overview of the Excel tools you'll be using, like for instance, the Unity and the Blender. So another mentor will be the one to take over that. Then as regarding Unity and Blender, how can we translate it to genomics? Like what will you be doing as Unity is concerned? How does it translate or explain what genomics is going to be? Then we also look at the challenge and area of simulation goals around the axis. Um, we'll also be discussing about the code of conduct and model of operation. So how we work and respect each other, then tools and platform we'll be using. For instance, we're already accustomed with Discord and Zoom. Then we'll also take into a brief preview of the timeline, which is the remote phase and the on-site phase. And also, we'll also be reviewing the new team structure. So we've had complaints severally from different people regarding the gender balance and some people not having a complete set of team. So we've worked on that and we'll give you an announcement on that as well before the end of before the end of today's section. Then we'll also be reviewing the new team structure because the scope at the end of the day is to make sure everybody has the opportunity to compete evenly without sentimental decision. So, and then the team composition recap would also going to be discussed, and then expectation for teams collaboration will also be highlighted. Then after that, we'll quickly run into the questions and checking section where you get to ask a question and we address everything right here on live. And we'll wrap it up by finalizing on activities that will be happening tomorrow, next tomorrow, to the end of the remote phase. And then, yeah, I think that's it for now. So I'll check in. Um, okay, all right. Okay, so already we have one of the mentors on board, Abimbola Popola, and okay, okay, Okay.
Hello.
Just 15 minutes. Okay. Abimbola, yeah, thank you very much for coming on board. So while we wait for Dio to talk about the genomics and how it's going to translate into the science part of this project, we'll just maybe skip that and then let you have the floor for now. Then you'll be giving us the quick overview of Excel tools like the Unities and Blender. Then also explain to us how it translates to genomics, the context, like how can we use Unity and Blender to achieve genomics simulation and that. Um, Okay, so and then we'll be looking at the challenges area and simulation goals you get. So part of it could be setting up the Unity and setting up the Blender and how they work into how we can integrate the two tools together to achieve the set purpose of this hackathon. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Gafar, for that. Um, yeah, I'm still doing a bit of setup on my end. But I can get started on the slide, just doing the introductions. All right.
Okay. All right. You can go about that. Abimbola, also please, can you help us use the proper background?
I haven't done that yet. So just give me a moment to do that.
Okay. All right. Mr. Daya has also joined the meeting. I'm sure you all had the opportunity to meet him yesterday. He was one of our freelance moderators for the panelists. So, Mr. Daya, you can greet the team.
All right, good morning, everyone. Sorry for joining in a bit late. Um, there was a bit discrepancy in the timing. I apologize for that. So it's good to have everyone here, and It's good to have everyone here. And this morning, I'll be taking us on an introduction to genomics. I believe that all of us are aware that this hackathon is genomics center based as well as AI and XR based. So this will be an introduction to genomics. And I believe some of us are aware about genomics, while some of us are not aware. So just a brief overview of what genomics is about. So, can everyone see my screen? I would like a confirmation if everyone can see my screen. Mr. Gafar, can you please confirm that?
Oh, yes, yes. I can see your screen from my hand. So,
All right, wonderful. So welcome everyone once again. I'll be taking us on an introduction into genomics. So this the following will be our outline. We'll be going to we'll be going from, what is genomics to knowing to asking ourselves the question, why is genomics important? Applications of genomics, benefits of genomics, and we'll be talking briefly about techniques used in genomics. So I'll be asking some questions, and Mr. Gafar, please be on standby and select a random participant that would answer the question. So before I go on to this course, just to get a brief overview of our understanding, I would like two persons to tell us what they understand by what genomics is. So please raise your hand, and Mr. Gafar would select two participants. So please, Mr. Gafar, give two participants uh, the ability to speak, to unmute their mic and make.
okay, quick one. If you're gonna raise your hand, also make sure you're using the background as instructed. Thank you very much. Okay. So we'll be calling on first person here. So Ibukun Bailey is raising her hand up. So Ibukun, I hope you're set and your background is also active. Okay, Ibukun, the floor is yours.
Ibukun, are you there? Do we have Ibukun speaking? Is there anyone else whose hand is raised up? Can we have
Ibukun,
Lawal testing?
Ibukun.
Sorry, I was trying to do the background stuff, but it was not working out for me. Can I still answer the question?
Okay, all right, just
Um,
go ahead.
yes, please go ahead.
Well, from my understanding, I feel like genomics is the study of the entire genetic sequence of an organism.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, Ibukun. Can we have Lawal testing? Mr. Gafar, can you please give Lawal testing the
Okay, Lawal
capacity to
testing,
unmute?
you have the okay.
Thank you so much. My name is Lawal Teslim Okwemi. So, genomics is the study of the entire genetic sequence, genetic makeup of an organism, and how it actually translates into information for research and other things.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. I see that a couple of us have an overview of what genomics is. But just to clarify, uh, As we go on, I will clarify some of the little nuances that makes that establishes the definition of genomics. So, but we all have a good idea. Every person has spoken, Ibuku and Lawal have spoken well. So we'll be going over, and then when we get to that point, we'll then answer what genomics is fully about. So quickly, one thing that our participants have mentioned is genetic sequence. But there's something that makes up a genetic sequence, and that is DNA. And the genetic code of life is DNA. DNA is just a short form for deoxyribonucleic acid. Since this is not this is a mix of both individuals in science and non-science, I'm not going to the details of that. Let's just focus on DNA. Yesterday we learned to simplify our science, so let's make it simple. So the genetic code of life is DNA. DNA is made up of four letters, A, T, G, and C. This A, T, G, and C represents biomolecules known as nitrogenous bases. Now, every life form has DNA. The entire DNA in a cell of any life form is called a genome. Now, the study of the entire DNA is genomics. So, I said I was going to clarify some of the little nuances. I see that the two individuals that spoke said something about genetic sequence. Now, yes, they are right, but that's a point of let me say professional definition, because that's what you get. That's what you get when you do like genomic sequencing. You get a sequence. But when you're going to call everything, you call it a genome. So the study of the entire DNA, which is the genome, is genomics. So little nuances just to establish the definition. So this study is very important because every life form, we have different life forms. We have animals, we have plants, we have microorganisms. I'll classify them as that. Human beings belong to the animal class form. Plants, we see plants all around us. They are living life forms. We have microorganisms. You have bacteria, you have fungi, you have protozoa, you have on and on microorganisms. Like all of these life forms have DNA. And it is just like, I believe we can speak to it since we are in an AI and XR and XR program. Just like you code to develop a program or to develop a software, the code is the background that makes up that software. So DNA is that code that gives life. So our code as human beings, so to speak, is DNA. And the study of all of this DNA, in its entirety, a fragment of DNA from one point to another, if it is coding for a protein, it is known as a gene. So a gene is a subset of the entire genome. A lot of genes combined together with non-coding regions of the DNA is called genomics. That's the study of the entire part. Study of that little part of the DNA that codes for a protein is known as a gene. So moving on, why is genomics important? There is something we say in molecular biology known as the central dogma. And what is this? It is a process of life form in which DNA moves to RNA and then RNA moves to protein. I take that again. From DNA, which is the genetic code of life, moves to RNA, which is like an interpreter of a particular part of the DNA, moving on to protein, which is the interpreted product, so to speak. Because every part of our body is made up of a protein. Our skin composes of protein. Our muscles compose of proteins. Different proteins having different structure. So the differences in, just like the participants mentioned, in the sequence between you and between I is what makes us unique. And this is based on our inheritance. But we all contain those four letters which I mentioned, which are A, T, G, and C, which are biomolecules. And these sequences are are combined in a very different way to produce the same protein, but in a very different form. In simple terms, it is the reason why I might have a light skin and some others might have a dark skin. But it's the same protein that is being produced. Regulation of this protein is what determines maybe I'm lighter than somebody and somebody is darker than I am. And in simple terms, we know melanin. We have different songs I've talked about melanin, dark skinned girl, melanin pumping, all of these things. Melanin is a protein that is coded for by the DNA. The expression of melanin is what makes some people darker, it is what makes some individuals lighter. And lack of melanin in some cases is what gives rise to albinism. So going back to central dogma, DNA codes for RNA. No, sorry. DNA codes for the formation of life. RNA is like the interpreter. And the conversion of RNA to protein, which is the end product, the combination of all of these proteins, is what now builds to our life forms as individuals. Now, there are different levels. There are simple cells, there are complex organisms. Expressions of these different DNA in different cell types is what gives rise to the complex organisms such as animals, humans, and plants. So, why is genomics important? Understanding the entire DNA of a cell helps us understand its life processes. Because once you see a cell, putting in mind the central dogma, you know that RNA will be transcribed or RNA will be formed from the DNA. And RNA is formed specifically from coding regions of the DNA. Not every part of the DNA codes for a protein. There are some parts of the DNA that are just for regulation processes. They are the ones that tells particular enzymes to synthesize a particular part of it as RNA, coding for a particular protein. And this occurs right as I am sitting down within us, although we cannot just visualize it, but this is occurring in my body, this is also occurring in your body. So understanding the entire part of the DNA of maybe an human or any animal or any life form is why genomics is very, very important. Because aside from the meaning of life, understanding how we are formed helps us to avert diseases, helps us understand why this is that, why that is that as well. So, moving on. Applications of genomics. I mentioned understanding life processes. So, and one major application of genomics is understanding the differences of life forms. It is said that the little difference between we and chimpanzees is just about 90%. I think I even saw a clip recently that the DNA difference between us and banana is just about, I think, 92% or so. It was a very close margin. I don't have a precise number, so permit me. So the reason why you are not a banana or I'm not a banana, it's just a little difference in all of those letters. Now, going back to defining the letters, like I said, A, T, G, and C, they are combined in millions, in billions. And just like our participant said, they are formed in a sequence. So imagine a billion of ATGC in different combinations. That is what is responsible for maybe why I'm human and why a banana is a banana, so to speak. So these little differences help us understand why different life forms, animals are animals, and humans are humans, take for example, or why chimpanzees are chimpanzees, and why humans are humans. So, next one, understanding genetic reasons for certain phenotypes. I've touched on this using melanin as an example. As much as everybody has a different variation of the same protein, the expression of this protein differs from, take for example, race to race. Let's say the African race to the North American race, to the South American race, to the Asian race, to the Australian race on different continents. Even within Nigeria, what makes there are certain phenotypic characteristics of Yorubas, there are different phenotypic characteristics of Igbos, there are different characteristics of Hausas. I, for example, often get mistaken or taken as an Igbo man or that Yoruba person excuse me, that's because individuals have, have accounted for, so to speak, or know Easterners who are Igbos to usually have a light skin. So anybody that usually see me, and especially when I'm speaking just English and I'm not speaking Yoruba, they by default, even before they hear their name, feel like that I'm an Igbo man because of those phenotypic characteristics. So, an understanding of genomics helps us understand some of these differences. And some of these differences might be very, very minute. It might be a change of A to a T, a change of a G to a C. All of these differences are what are responsible for, like we used, for example, melanin. These differences are what makes Westerners have a lower expression of melanin compared to Africans, although there are certain environmental factors that also stimulate the expression or the need for expression of certain these proteins. That's another different level of evolution. But understanding the genetic reasons of these different phenotypes are the reasons why we need to have an understanding of genomics or why genomics is important. So also understanding diseases. It is said that certain individuals might be predisposed to take, for example, diabetes, neurological disorders, cardiac disorders, that's heart problems or whatsoever, based on their genetic predisposition. So an understanding of genomics also helps in that aspect. Aside from metabolic diseases, there's also infectious diseases, which we at IGH are professional at. We work on understanding infectious diseases, especially viruses and parasites. But I must note that not all infectious pathogens, so to speak, have DNA as their genome. Some have RNA as their genome. That is where the central dogma kind of shifts when it concerns those pathogens, especially some viruses. Some viruses have DNA as their genome, while some viruses have RNA as their genome. So that's infectious disease. Moving on, agriculture is another important application of genomics. It is said that, take for example, the current orange that we're drinking or the current banana that we are eating in our time is not the banana that has always existed. That human beings, for the sake of food or certain benefits, have mixed plants in such a way that we now have seedless banana. There are clips online that have said that uh, I'm not a pro in agricultural genomics. I'm just saying this on what I've heard. That so there are clips that have said that in time past we have had bananas that had seeds, but because of food and certain breeding of banana, we now have seedless banana. Even grapes, we have seedless grapes, which is commonly sold in markets. All of this is due to the fundamental knowledge of genomics. Although when this thing started, it started just based on observation, but not based on understanding it at the molecular level. But with an understanding of the molecular level, now breeding is not only based on, oh, I see a plant that is sweet, I see another plant that is not sweet. let me combine the seeds together, or let me put their stems together and then get a sweeter or a better product. So I see two sweets and I want to get double sweet. It has moved from phenotypic observation to now editing at some point in the lab certain characteristics, or combining certain genetic materials in the right form, or tweaking it in the right form at the genomic level to bring forth a better agricultural product. Now, those products are usually referred to as GMOs, genetically modified organisms. So that's another application of genomics. So benefits of genomics. It might be said that, oh, they just have scientists, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. People just have scientists who are editing this and that. They want to take over the world, they want to destroy life. But not in the entirety. As much as we might have mad scientists out there, we also have good and genuine scientists who want to do good for the human race. And one of the benefits that we can take from genomics is precision medicine. Now, you would have heard, take for example, one of our speakers yesterday was talking about if you have a product or a drug that only works for about 98% of individuals, what happens to the remaining 2%? We want to cut that. But the way medicine is moving ahead is that if we can understand your genome, we can understand the particular drug that will work for, take for example, your diabetes. Because the way your diabetes might be moving may not be the same way the diabetes of another person might be moving. Take, for example, some metabolic disease. We are not fully there yet, but understanding the entire DNA of an individual can help us understand how to treat particular diseases, hence precision medicine. So there is a future in which once you are diagnosed with a particular disease, take for example, before you administer the drug, they take your sample and they do genomic sequencing, and based on the data that is available there, they now recommend a drug for you. So another benefit of genomics is understanding evolution. Now, what is evolution? Evolution is simply a trend from a particular time to another time. Take, for example, in the past 1,000 years of life, of human existence, so to speak, the way we've lived life has been different from the way we are living now. Even our movement from one part to another has been different. Understanding genomics in different regions can help us understand some of the evolutions that have occurred within that period of time. Understanding genomics is also one of the bases why humans are able to understand some genetic makeup of dinosaurs, who have been in who have been extinct for thousands of years. That's an example. Also, understanding evolution in terms of diseases, in terms of pathogen. One form of evolution that I believe most of us will be able to relate with is during the COVID-19 pandemic. You will see that at the start of 2020, or let's say around March, when it got to Nigeria and it started making waves, we started hearing maybe after 6 months, a different strain has come out. And we say, oh, this strain, people might not be protected to this strain. In another 6 months, it was said again, for 2 months, it was said again that a Delta strain has come out. Everybody was scared. This is more pathogenic. Another strain came out, which is called Omicron. This is more pathogenic. All of this was based on an understanding of genomics, because over time, viruses evolve. That means they change certain of their genetic material or part of their genomes over a period of time as it replicates. Even humans, whenever a human gives birth to a new child, is a form of evolution, because although the genetic sequences or the genome of that individual has combined now with another spouse to form a different type of a human being, which is a child. That's a form of evolution. Now, that child may have some better characteristics, maybe more beautiful, more handsome, has brighter eyes, has a brighter smile, has better teeth function, some of those little things. Those are parts of evolution that we can understand, but specifically in terms of diseases, in terms of infectious pathogens, excuse me, understanding the evolution of these pathogens can help us also understand how to mitigate them, because you can then predict that within a particular duration, there's a tendency for this type of pathogen to evolve into a more virulent form. Understanding pathogens, I've also mentioned that using COVID-19, the pathogen that caused COVID-19 is known as SARS-CoV-2. An understanding of genomics was greatly essential during the pandemic. So vaccine development also, just like precision medicine, vaccines don't work for everyone. There can be some little differences based on the genetic makeup of individuals that will not allow individuals be susceptible or express the right type of antibodies based on that vaccine. So an understanding of genomics of humans can also be able to help us determine the type of vaccines to give out. And also aside from that, there's also the technology of mRNA vaccine, which is, although not a full genome, but a particular segment of the genome of SARS-CoV-2 that was used as a vaccine during the pandemic. mRNA vaccines. mRNA, I mentioned central dogma initially, DNA to RNA and then to protein. mRNA is the type of RNA, but the mRNA that was used as vaccine was just presenting the surface protein of SARS-CoV-2. And in the presence of that mRNA in a human being, it goes to form a protein, the S protein of SARS-CoV-2, and an expression of that SARS-CoV-2 now allows the body to build up antibodies against that surface protein. Therefore, allowing in the event of actual SARS-CoV-2 infection, the body can then fight against the pathogen, because the surface protein is just like the skin or the outer layer or the outer protein that is present on SARS-CoV-2. So those are one of the benefits of genomics. Now, genomic techniques. There are a broad range of genomic techniques, but most commonly, we have nucleic acid extraction. That's the process of getting your DNA out of a cell into solution. Polymerase chain reaction, that's making multiple copies of a particular gene or your DNA that you've gotten into solution. We have library preparation. That's the process of preparing your DNA for sequencing. This varies from platform to platform. And sequencing, just like a participant mentioned earlier, understanding the sequence of this genome. Sequencing is the process of knowing the order of all of the 4 letters of the entire DNA of an individual. So, with that, thank you very much. I would now like to take a few questions from participants. At least 5, or let's say at most 5, because I have to run along to another meeting. I hope you have learned one thing or another. So, Mr. Gafar, can we have questions? I don't know if there are any questions
Okay.
in the chat,
All right.
or if
So,
individuals
we
can
have
raise their hands.
few people have their hand raised here. So, please,
Okay.
we have one. Okay,
Okay,
we
so
have
can we
Caleb Otudeko. Sorry for the pronunciation. And that's the first person. Who is the second person?
please raise
Okay,
your
so
hands and Mr. Gafar can note you.
if you have questions, you can raise your hand. So in this case, since we have no hand raised, it seems you've done a very wonderful job. Okay, we have
Oh, we have
David
David.
out here. Okay, so David, the floor is yours.
Okay, David, please.
Hi, good morning. Can you
Good
hear me?
morning. How are you doing? Yes, we
Good evening.
can.
Okay, my question would be about the would I say, we are less represented concerning, our data, especially us Africans, and I think a certain region of West African people. And I was wondering if there is a particular reference genome, in such a way that most of the advancements made in, let's say, precision medicine or drug discovery could also include us as Africans or even other populations in the world that are less represented, especially like regions where they are not really exposed. They don't have a lot of science advancements going on, or they don't have scientists that include them in, um, you know, disease preventions and most of the cutting edge advancements we are currently making in the world. So, is there like a reference genome, or like do we still have to wait on more scientists to come up and include these people in most of the advancements that would be made now and in the future? That would be my question.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. To answer that question, I believe there should be at least a few, take for example, African genomes on public databases. I stand to be corrected though, because I'm not fully an expert in human genomics. My expertise is in more of infectious disease genomics, but I believe one or two. But the issue there is when you're talking about precision medicine, you don't need, or you need a large data set. So as much as there might be a few reference genomes on public databases, they are not enough to represent the African population. Why? Because the African population is the most diverse population in the world. Of all continents, Africans are very diverse. Within a few kilometers, you will see a different African with a different phenotype. So one of the push currently, even we at IGH are also moving forward to, is to move into human genomics so that we put forth out there enough data representing the African population, starting with the Nigerian population, for example. When we put up more databases, I mean more genomic data into public databases, then it will be easy to achieve precision medicine that includes Africans. Because, like I mentioned, the world is tending towards precision medicine. And because of that, we need a lot of data from the African population to enable the inclusion of Africans in precision medicine. And usually you will wonder why a lot of clinical trials are held in Africa. It's not so that they reduce the population. It's not so because of that. Aside from the fact that when it comes to diseases, Africans are highly susceptible to infectious diseases mostly, but Africans are also resistant to some metabolic diseases, but also because of the genetic diversity in Africans enables a diversity of data to include individuals that are both existing in the Western world, in the eastern part of the world, and also in Africa as a whole. So understanding those data sets when clinical trials are carried out enables a wide application of such medications that will come out. So to answer your question, I am I am sure to some extent there are some reference, but I could be wrong, but they are not enough at this stage to represent the entire African population. Thank you very much. Can we have the next person?
All right. Up next is Eniola Alex.
All right, Eniola, please go ahead. Is
Okay.
Eniola there?
Yeah, I was not able to mute myself earlier. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thanks so much for the presentation. So I think
You're
my
welcome.
question is around the melanin example, right? I just want to
Yes.
know what's the biggest integration today when it comes to the Nenalin expression between Africa and the Western people. I'd like to just know your own idea about that. Yeah.
Okay, the biggest question. Wow. Number one, it is out of my field. I'm an infectious disease virology expert. But I would say when it comes to melanin, one of the questions is how melanin protects from skin cancer, take for example. Because I believe the data says, I stand to be corrected, but the data says that Westerners who are light skinned, who have lower expression of melanin, are more predisposed to skin cancer as compared to Africans who have a higher expression of melanin. So I would say one of those biggest questions will be in relation to skin cancer. But like I said, I'm not an expert in human genomics, cancer, and the rest. My expertise is in infectious diseases, but I just have a little idea. But I would say, but I stand to be corrected as well. I hope that answers your question, if not fully or confidently, but to some extent.
Yes,
Can we
it does.
have
Thanks
the,
so much.
all right, you're welcome. Can we have the next person?
Okay, from the chat, we have a question from Moses Ugoja. So he said, you just made mention of the diversity of African genomics data. I want to ask, recently I was reading on the most of the data bank and found out some data that were uploaded years ago might have some error. In this case, working with such data presently might cause some challenges. So how can one overcome this aspect of challenges, especially in especially in personalized medicine and diagnostic kits design?
All right, wonderful question. So one of the reasons why you will be able to know that something is an error is because you have a reference. And what does that mean? You have multiple examples of something such that when there is an abnormality, you consider it normal. So one way to overcome that is to put out more genomic data that is representative of the African population. And that's one of the push. And I believe most investors are going towards pharmaceutical investors getting genomic data from the African population. So the more data comes forth, the more we will see the errors in those initial data and then see the right things that is observed in the new data that is coming forth. And I hope you're referring to errors based on the sequencing output, because some errors could also have occurred from the sequencing process, because not every sequencing platform is fail-proof. There are some sequencing platforms that also have contributed some errors due to the material. Take, for example, the DNA polymerase that was used in that process is subject to some to add to mismatches of some of these complementary sequences. So those ones also could have led to those errors. However, we now have more optimized technologies. And using those more optimized technologies to put forth more data, we'll be able to correct that error. So the same answer answers the same possible issues for those errors, if you get what I mean. So that's three questions. I'd like to
Okay,
take two more questions before.
all right.
Thanks.
Second to the last question. This is coming from Fanny Olakunle. So the question says, please, how practical is it in sequencing genomes of various races in Nigeria, even Africa, cost-wise?
Okay, so that's a very, very important question because research is expensive, like it or not. So the Human Genome Project invested billions of dollars to sequence just one human genome, but that was based on the technology that was available then. The technology that was used to sequence the entire genome of humans was the Sanger sequencing. After that, we've had 2 iterations of generations of sequencing technologies. Circular sequence belongs to the first generation. We've had the second generation. We've had the third generation. Now, not all of this generation of sequencing technology, there are different sequencing technologies in each generation, but not all of them are foolproof. And as time goes on, they have been optimized to be foolproof. However, the cost of sequencing an entire genome has gradually reduced to about $1,000 per sample. And I believe over time, we would have cheaper options. Now, the sequencing technology, the size has reduced from a very large. The Human Genome Project used multiple Sanger sequences. Now, with one sequencing system, you can sequence an entire genome. Now, technology has even advanced that you have pocket-sized sequencer. The Oxford Nanopore technology is just like the shape of a stapler, and it can be used to sequence. Although it still has some issues in terms of giving out the right sequence, but the technology has advanced from its inception up to now. So the cost of sequencing the entire diversity of the human genome has greatly reduced. And with proper funding, over time, it is very, very much achievable. I believe over time, if the Oxford Nanopore technology, take for example, is optimized properly and can take large genome sizes, because the human genome is one of the largest genome sizes out in the world. So if the technology is optimized better and you can afford those technologies within few hours and few dollars, although no doubt it's still a bit costly, based on the economic impact, actually, economic difference between Africa and the dollar, take for example. You might not want to convert it in local currency because it's still going to be a lot. But I would say that the price has greatly reduced. And over time, it is now being commercialized to the point that with a few dollars, individuals can get their genomic sequences done and they can understand their inheritance and all of that. Although that is how it is being advertised, but it is contributing to data that is out there. So in terms of cost, the cost is reducing over time and it is more and more achievable. But no doubt, there's a need for more investment to be put into that aspect of research to get that data out. And like I said, IGH will be moving into that field very soon and hopefully will be contributing enormously or in a large amount to data from humans from the African population. So one more question and then if I can move on.
Okay. For the final question, this is coming from Naomi Padre. So, the question is, please, do we have the facilities for genomic testing that can be used in personalized medicine in Nigeria and is personalized medicine used in treating patients in this part of the world?
To the best of my knowledge, in this part of the world, I do not think so. But I think there is an advancement in that regard. Take, for example, in the United States, particular metabolic diseases, but it is not yet widespread. What we are seeing right now is individuals doing doing genomic testing to understand their inheritance, where they come from, where you would have seen clips, you have seen TikTok and Instagram clips where somebody said, I just did a swab and sent my DNA to the lab and they told me my origin, say maybe I'm part Caucasian, part African, part this and that. That is still what it is being used mainly for. But over time, it will also be used for treating. But in this part of the world, I don't think it has been, as to the best of my knowledge. It may have been, but to the best of my knowledge, no. So I'll just take an extra last question. I think there's a question from Billy, and then we'll call it a wrap.
Oh, okay. For Ayodele Oluwatayo Michael, his question is based on what you said about the coding. Based on what you said about the coding sequence, So can we predict, for example, the effect of pathological patho
Physiology
pathophysiology of
of the
bacteria?
bacteria
Yeah,
based on its gene.
based on
Yeah,
based on its genome sequence. Yeah, especially if we have similar data available on it.
yes, it is. But before you can say this, if it is a new pathogen, certain tests would have to be done in the lab to have tested certain of these genomic characteristics to see the phenotype. And because, take for example, how did humans know that the liver is the site of detoxification? That's because at some point, individuals took liver out of maybe an animal and saw what happened to that animal. And then we're able to categorically say that this is the function of this liver. So there will be some form of phenotypic test to understand that if this part of the genome is not present, what would happen to this genome, and what will happen to this organism, and what effect does it have on its virulence, which is now translated into the pathophysiology. I hope that understands. So there's need for those testing. And once enough data comes out, when you now have a similar pathogen, maybe in the same class, family, or species, you can say that this bacteria or this virus, for example, would cause so and so virulence based on existing data. But when it is new, that data will not be immediately available until it has some phenotypic testing have been done and some genetic editings have been done, or some virulence testing have been done, some experiments done in the lab to understand its characteristics and its pathogenesis, basically. So, with that, I'd like to call it a wrap, and thank you very much for paying attention, and I hope you have learned a thing or two. I have another meeting now that I have to jump into. Thank you very much. I hope you have
Uh,
a wonderful time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daivo. You've done a very wonderful job and fantastic on educating us about genomics. I'm sure everyone on the call today now understands one or two things about genomics and how everything works, not just for the scientists, but for the Unity developers and the Blender artists and every other person across different skill sets. I am fully confident that you are now able to educate the vast community and the world also on genomics right now. So before we move on, we'll be having a short breakout section for 5 minutes. And while we do that, I would endeavor every one of us to interact with I will endeavor everyone to interact socially with the sponsor of the event, so majorly IGH itself. So links to each sponsor post will be dropped. So we have IGH, we have MC3D, we have Redleaf, we have ISN, we also have Vita, we have Blue Chip. So do as much as possible to interact socially with everyone. You can now drop your comment on IGH as well. Share your insight on this recent section that just happened. I mean, if you have further questions, you can ask there, and everything will be tailored successfully. So the link will be dropped in the chat right now. So we'll be taking the breakout section now. Please do that as it all factors into why we are here. Thank you very much.
Available for researchers here. Our researchers were able to detect the first case, in this case of Ebola in 2014. And that actually brought the university into limelight because it was a major breakthrough that helped Nigeria and it actually facilitated early containment of the disease.
Doing science on the African continent is a completely different story than doing science in other parts of the world. But ASGID is doing a wonderful job in trying to overcome all the challenges that the African continent brings.
The benefits of being in SGID is a full scholarship whereby they are covering my tuition fee and they're giving me a stipend to cover for my monthly food like accommodation, which is a very good thing for me because I'm not stressed about the tuition fee and also I have stipend which I can use without it.
I have my master's program here at SGID, and I think the motivating factor for me was the fact that I got blown away by the fact that you could get like the exact type of experience, I mean, in terms of cutting edge technology that you'd get elsewhere. I was planning to leave. That was the plan. So I had a discussion with one of my mentors, and then she told me, you can actually do the same research you're just talking about. You want to do molecular biology, you can do it here. You know, I was not expecting that.
We really thought of setting up a platform where we could bring people, right? And really let them embrace this technology and teach them how to use this technology and do research and advance health in Africa in a way that wasn't done before. And one way to do that was really to, first of all, build and establish programs, what are called genomic curriculums, that at master's and PhD level. And I want to be confident that actually we got the very first genomic curricula that were accredited in the whole region. And then, and the goal was to build a critical mass of well-trained African scientists that can leverage the knowledge and the skills of genomics.
We have benefited a lot in terms of enhancing the ranking of the university through the research publications emanating from SG scientists. We've been able to have appearance in very high impact factor journals. Virtually all the papers coming out of the laboratory there are Scopus Index, and this has had very great impact on our ranking as a university.
If there's anything that the director, Professor Christian Happy, is about, is that our publications must go in a high impact journal, because even what we do is also very impactful. So overall, we have over 269 publications. I haven't counted what we are trying to submit now, because we're actually working on putting publications for this year together.
AGID has had a lot of work in various sites in Nigeria. We are working with Ikorodu General Hospital. We are working with IRA Specialist Teaching Hospital. We are working with the Federal Medical Center, Owa, and then Alex Ekweme Federal University Teaching Hospital, Abakaliki. In these places, we are performing groundbreaking research on Lassa fever and other viral hemorrhagic fevers. We help them in building capacity for diagnosis, for sequencing, and for detection of some of these diseases even before they became outbreaks.
I like the program. And also when I started the class, my lecturer, they like, okay, we have French student here. She doesn't understand English. So whenever I'm asking questions, they are more interested, like, okay, can we come closer to hear what you are saying? So they give me this attention that make me free. SGID is focused on Africa and want to solve the problem that African countries are facing.
Actually, did that part too.
Okay. So I'll be welcoming back everyone to this section once again, and I hope you've done the due diligence, take your time to react to everything that has been happening on social media. You can still go there while this is happening, and I mean, still take part in this section. So, to continue this section, we're moving down to XR and AI tools introduction, which is going to be done by Abimbola. So, Abimbola, you can kindly have the floor now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gafar. Yeah, hi everyone. Okay, welcome to this session. So I'll be taking you through the XR and AI tools you'd be using to develop, as you build various solutions during this hackathon. Now let me share the slides. All right. So let's begin. So the focus tools that I'll be considering are Unity and Blender. But before we go into them, let me just do a bit of background check. So we've already gone through what extended reality is during the session we had yesterday. So the various speakers already spoke a bit on extended reality, how it's the umbrella term for different immersive technologies. You have augmented reality, AR, virtual reality, VR. You also have mixed reality, MR, under these extended reality. So they vary in slightly different ways. So you have augmented reality being overlaying digital elements, with real world objects. So it's like you're bringing digital things into the real world. While virtual reality, on the other end, is completely digital environments and objects that you're interacting with. So those are the two ends of the spectrum. And you have mixed reality, which is like quite similar to augmented reality. So you have different objects, digital objects, also overlaid with real world objects. So to give a visual representation of what each one is, you have augmented reality right here. So you can see this filter that is being experienced here. So the 3D model is virtual. It's not real. It's not a physical thing that you can touch. The actual thing is just the sticker at the back. That's the real thing. So through augmented reality, you can you can add to the existing reality, you can add to the real world. So that is how this, came about. So that is an example of augmented reality. Then virtual reality, when you put on the virtual reality headset, so what you see is the virtual world. You are not seeing your environment at all. So whether it's whatever experience is going on in the headset, that's what you are going to see. This is a snapshot from the Beat Saber game. So it's a virtual reality experience. When you put on the headsets, you see, lightsabers, and then you see these cubes coming towards you. So you are not seeing your physical surroundings, you are in a different environment. And then you have mixed reality. Like I said, it's very similar to augmented reality. And so you also put on your headset to have the full experience of this mixed reality. So you have digital elements placed into the real world. So this is a real room, a physical room, and you see, this spaceship, the alien, and the crack in the wall. They are added, into this experience. So they are not actually there. There's no crack in the wall in real life. So it's just adding to the experience and giving it, a feel of, more like presence into the game environment. You have, some aliens invading your living room and all. So it's just showcasing the power of extended reality. So these are the common examples. You have augmented reality on one end, virtual reality on the other, and mixed reality, still something very similar to augmented reality. All right, so let's get into extended reality, the various things involved. So looking at virtual reality, to be specific. So this also applies to mixed reality and augmented reality as well, but I'll just be focused more on virtual reality so we can have a solid, idea of what is entailed there. So for an experience or an application that you experience on the headset, it comprises of various things. So you have the 3D models, you have your UI, the user interface, you have the audio, you have the 3D animation, you have the C# scripting, so the programming aspect. So all these various components come together to give you that experience that you have on the headset. So I don't know how many of us have actually tried a VR experience before. We've put on the headset and, interacted with something before. So I'm going to take them bit by bit. So we have the 3D models. The 3D models are the representation of the objects you would normally see in the real world or objects that don't even exist in the real world. So you need to have this in your experience because by default, when you are building the computer, you are the one you are the one bringing together everything that you want to be in an experience. You are the ones bringing everything together. By default, you don't have anything to work with. So you have to be the ones to say, oh, this is the environment I want to create, and these are the things I want to be there. So, because nothing is there by default, it's just everything is total darkness. Yeah, the one that say, oh, yeah, let there be lights, let there be this and that in the space. So you have the 3D models to work with, the environment itself that you want to create, that you want the experience to happen inside, whether it's a laboratory or in the field, anywhere. So you need to have a 3D model of that, the experience. The objects, the various apparatus, the tools that you be building with, so all these things need to be, you need to have the 3D models to actually have them in your experience. So yeah, then you have the user interface. So the user interface is one of the ways by which the person having the experience will interact. So as you're in the experience, you can interact with 3D objects. You can pick things up, like you would in the real world. You can grab a flask, a bottle, a cup. The same thing in the virtual environments. You want the users, the people that are trying the experience, to be able to have these interactions. So they can do that with the 3D models. The UI is also providing more information. It's like a guide. So it contains more information and also has its own interaction. So, you want the person to do a particular set of activity in this particular space, so that you have the UI that provides the information. The UI also could also give more information about the environments, like what the various things that the user needs to be aware in the space they are in could contain that information. Yeah, so it's just like a set of instructions. It could function as a set of instructions, like a guide. They could interact with it. It could have like buttons that does things. So just like you have mobile devices in the real world, we interact with things there. So you could have something similar in the virtual environment as well. So these are part of the components that you would use to develop. So audio is a very important aspect, because to be immersed in a virtual space, there's the visual aspects where you have the 3D models, the UI, so you are immersed. But to actually feel presence, like the visuals alone won't do it. There needs to be, immersion, that feeling that you're actually there. So audio is one way that adds, that immersion, that brings that immersion. So imagine something drops, in this virtual space you're in, and there's no sound. It's going to feel a bit off. So sounds need to be part of it. So it is sound. And there is this in extended reality, there's something like called spatial audio, where you can, when a sound, when a sound plays, you'll be able to detect, so this sound is coming from this direction, because it has that spatial quality. So once you turn around, you'll be able to say, oh, yes, I'm following the right direction. So it gives more presence in that environment you are in. So that adds to the level of immersion you feel. So that's another thing. Then you have 3D animation. So 3D animation refers to like the movements, the motion given by the 3D objects in the scene. Even 2D objects could have animation as well. But for things to show that they have life, they have to move. They have to, like, is one of the fundamental things of life. So like movements. So the objects in the scene, in your environments, like they need to be able to move. They need to, whether on their own, a predefined set of motion, or maybe it's human beings in the space. Is they are not just standing like mannequins, they're actually moving. So this is done by adding animation into by giving the 3D objects, 3D models, animations. So it's not something that comes out of the box. You have to animate or get already made animations. So one peculiar thing about extended reality developing is you are developing a virtual world, some place that doesn't exist before. You are the one that gets to decide a lot of things there. So by default, things are not moving. You are the one that has to make them move. By default, if you let something go, you might not, experience gravity. I don't have to say, oh, I want the world I'm in to have gravity. I want things to fall whenever I let go of them. So it involves a lot of, basic level, foundational level considerations. So that you need to make so that the user is immersed in your world. So, and they are able to interact well and have the best experience. And the last part of the components I'll be talking about is the C# scripting, which enables you to add interaction into the scene. So when the person having the experience does a set of things, you want there to be a reaction. Yeah, so when they press a button, what happens when they turn the knob of a machine? What should happen after that? So the machine makes a sound, the light comes on, displays something. These are things that, that need to happen for the experience to feel organic. So there has to be, a reaction to the user's actions that will enable them, interact well. So interact with the experience. So they're able to they're trying to figure something out, in the space. So when they perform an action, if nothing happens, then, the experience just feels dead in a sense. So to add interactions to your experience, you need to do a bit of C# scripting. No, yeah, not everyone likes to do C# scripting or programming, but like to have the more interaction in your experience, you have to add a bit of scripting. And I put C# scripting here because we are looking at Unity, and the programming language that Unity uses is C#. So that's necessary. So these are all the basic components that come together to give an extended reality experience. So we'll be going into the tools that you need to be able to get these assets and also bring them together to actually create the experience. So you have your development tools. So we have Unity and we have Blender. So there are different tools that you can use to develop. So I've categorized them. So Unity is a game engine. You can use, there are different kind of game engines, and the popular ones, that are easily accessible to the public is Unity, Unreal Engine, and Godot. So they are all free. They have like free for personal use and some for professional use as well. So these tools are called game engines for a reason, and it is different from a tool like Blender, which is a DCC, a digital content creation tool. So their focus, their aim is different. In Unity, you bring together all the components that we talked about in this slide here. You have your 3D models, your UI, your audio, your 3D animation, your C# scripts. So it's in Unity that you bring all these things together to actually create the experience that you want. So that's what the game engine does. The game engine is a very very versatile tools. Like can use them to create experiences, interactive experiences, cinematic experiences. They have like they use different components that like we've mentioned. You can bring in 3D models, audio, video, animation, and bring them together and manipulate them such that you create something meaningful at the end and create a story, an interactive experience. It's a game engine that makes that possible. Now, when you look at it through a DCC like Blender, what the focus is, like the name implies, DCC, digital content creation tool. So a digital content creation tool like Blender, Maya, 3ds Max, they help you in creating, you use them to create your assets that you bring into the game engine. So if you have 3D models, you can create your 3D models in Blender, or you could maybe use them to edit an already created 3D model. You could use them to texture your 3D model, to create animations as well, and yeah, those are just some of the tools, at least as in relation to what we'll be doing during this hackathon. So those are some of the things that the DCC does. So the game engine just, it gives the raw materials that you use in the game engine to actually create your experience. So you sometimes since you need to work with 3D models, it is very likely that you need to pass through Blender, do some things because you might not have your 3D model that you want to use just readily available for you like that. You may have to create some things in Blender or get the model somewhere, bring them to Blender, adjust them to your taste, then bring them into the game engine, Unity in this case, to actually create what you want to create. Okay. So when working with game engine in like Unity and you want to get started, creating for extended reality, there are some things you need to be aware of. So I'll just go through because it's a bit of a technical tool and there is a learning curve. So, but yeah, during the period of the hackathon while you're building, you'll be able to, just focus on what is essential because it's a very vast tool that can do a lot of things. You just need to focus on what is essential, and I'll be taking you through some of that. What is essential for you to actually build, your solution. You don't have to learn the whole thing that the tool does. So I'm going to take you through the environment. Let me share my screen. The Unity is okay. Let's see. All right, so this is Unity. This is like the default like window of Unity, how it looks. I have a simple scene set up here. So hold on. Okay. So I have a simple scene set up here, and this is just an example. Let me just take you through the simple breakdown. So we have Unity here. This big, giant space here is the scene, which is like, a 3D viewport where you actually see everything you are putting together, So based on the idea is, you want to build in extended reality. That means you want to build in a space, in a virtual space that you create. Like it was said by the speakers yesterday, the virtual environment allows you, to do like dangerous things safely and also at lower costs. You could set up a lab here in this space, add the various things that you want to do to perform an experiment, then add the interactions so that the user can learn how to perform that process, for instance, and you could guide them, create the experience such that you guide them through the process and they're able to learn, in the safe environments, in the safe, in the virtual environments, and also without, necessarily doing any damage to the equipment because they are virtual. So, but the main thing is that the user, the people trying it out, can use it, can learn with it and become better before going to the actual thing. Like that's one of the use case for extended reality. So here in Unity, we have the space, the 3D space that shows what you actually have. Just a preview of what you have in the experience. On the left-hand side, you have the hierarchy. Those are the actual list of things that are in the space. So you have like different things, the environment itself, the lighting and all the various things that make up the space. So yeah, this is like a 3D model, or these are 3D model. This is like a sci-fi laboratory. With like various, high-tech things. Yeah. All right. So in this space, you have the 3D model, you have just some UI. So there's just this UI in the scene, just an example that just shows a menu for the user to be able to interact and do some things in the space. You have some sound which you can't hear now, but there are some objects that give off sound. Just like this volume you have right here gives us a sound. When I play the experience, I can see, what sound it gives. Yeah. So, yeah, so you have the sound, the UI, the 3D environment itself. What other thing? The C sharp, scripting. So there are some scripts there, just one at the moment that is added to this scene just to give it a bit of interaction when the user is in the experience. So it's just one. Actually, for this object right here, I want it to be an interactable space. So just just a simple, just few lines of code that does something. Yeah. And what's other thing? I think that's yeah, 3D animation. Okay, yeah, there isn't much animation here at the moment. So let's just do a quick test of the environment and see what it's like. Get my headsets connected. Launching the quest link mode so that I can uh, connect the headsets properly, link it to the system so that once I play, yeah, I can see on my headsets. Okay, the link is taking its time to establish connection. All right. So since I'm getting some kind of warning, the Android. Okay. Okay, I think I'm just going to skip testing with the VRSS directly for now. So essentially, that's a simple scene in a simple virtual environment with some interactions. Reopening the scene. Just so I can easily move around and show. Yeah, so I'm just going to use this character to move around, just so I can easily show. And okay. Yeah, so the game engine does like this sometimes. Takes a bit of time to load. Now, while we wait for this to resolve, for NC to resolve, whatever, then I'm going to continue a bit on the other tools you need and can use. Right, so you have a simple scene. You have some basic interactions, which I'm going to show once the play works. Then, so as you are developing in Unity, there are some processes that can use AI to help speed up, especially in the development part, the programming aspects. So, yeah, not a lot of people like scripting or programming, adding interactions through the means. So, but it's still, I would still recommend that one understands various things, the various things that are the basic understanding of the game engine, essentially, before jumping into the AI aspect of things. Just a moment. All right, so there are some AI that can assist you with the scripting aspects, such as Claude, Grok, ChatGPT. Those are listed in like the order of their proficiency, with programming. So once you have a basic knowledge of how things work in Unity, then using the AI will be, easier. If you have like no clue at all, yeah, if using the AI would be even challenging to get started. Yeah. Then you have the basic tools that are needed to set up a VR environment. Like you have the Unity version. I recommend using the LTS version. So Unity is on Unity 6 currently. The LTS version is in 6.0. Is on 6.0 at the moment. So it's usually so it's like long-term support. So it's usually recommended to use the long-term support version because of its stability. You have like less errors, because other versions will be like the beta version or just other versions that are no LTS usually have some bugs in them that could affect as you could come up as you're building your solution. So Unity 6 LTS, you have some plugins within Unity that you would need to build for VR or MR. In this particular case, you can build with you can use these plugins to build virtual reality and mixed reality experiences. So you have the XR plugin management, you have the XR interaction toolkit, you have OpenXR. Yeah. So an alternative to OpenXR is the Meta all-in-one SDK. So you can build for various headsets, various virtual reality, mixed reality headsets. But the common ones, the consumer friendly ones, are the Quest headsets. So here is the Quest 3. So the Quest are like very popular, and you can easily get those. So to develop for the Quest, you can use the OpenXR in the Meta SDK. I'll be showing you the SDKs and Unity in a moment. Then you have the Visual Studio tool, which is the integrated development environment, the IDE that you use to add your scripting features. Then you have the MetaQuest link. The MetaQuest link is important when you want to test what you're building on the headset. So your device, your building device, your laptop would need to have the Quest link app, would need to support it. And what if it supports it, if you have the right graphics card support it, you'll be able to link it with Unity such that you can play. When you test the scene, you'll be able to prototype on your headset and navigate in the scene as well. Right, let's quickly check back on this. Wow, this is really taking its time. Oh, let's see. I think I'm just gonna close this again. Yeah. Try one more time. Yeah, and it's fine as we are experiencing this now, because development isn't always like smooth, so you always have crashes and times you need to restart Unity as you're developing. So I just open again.
That's nothing. Good. Yeah.
Let me just create a new scene and paste the scene. Okay, let me just see there's some questions. Okay, the software is to install and the system specific applications. Just a moment, guys. So yeah. Okay, great. So let's see. Let's hold on. All right, great. So this is the scene. Let me just hold on. Let me. Okay, great. So this is the scene. So I I'm just using this character to test. This is not the AR mode there. Yeah. So you have the UI, like I said, yeah, and you have this volume where you can interact. So I just add a basic interaction in the volume, such as the player enters, or if it's the person having the experience enters. So you hear a sound and the color of the volume also changes. So that's it. And then I didn't hear the sound. I don't know if you guys heard it. So, all right. So it's just a simple lab assets that I got online. So you don't have to create your 3D models from scratch. You can easily get free models online to create with. And if you don't find the exact model you want, you can try to model, or you can also use some AI tools to generate some models for you. We have like some texts, to 3D generators. We have like some sites that it will generate maybe from an image. You can use an image, then add the prompts, and then the AI generates 3D models for you. Yeah, the 3D model generators are still not. Well, it's still something that is under development. They won't give you like the best 3D model, but it's something that is usable and can use to prototype. Okay, now that this worked, I think think let's test the VR also, if it can work. Okay, yeah, so this is the VR, so it's working now as well. I can, okay. So I can move around. So as you can see, some things on the table. So this is what I was saying about VR. So in this space, you can see this measuring cylinder just floats in here is because we didn't add anything, any properties to tell it that, oh, it should obey the laws of gravity. So yeah, we could do that. Okay. Okay, so that's it. I'm in the space. It just made a sound like a door opening. Then if I go outside the space, yeah. Okay, so sorry, my mic fell. Okay. Hope you guys can still hear me. All right, so okay. All right, so just a quick walkthrough of the environments and the simple functionality we added. All right. So like I said I was going to show you the various things to install. So getting started with Unity, to install Unity, you have to go to the website, download Unity Hub. So, so you go to Unity, you download Unity Hub. So let's see, install the hub. Listen. So it's yeah, I just use the visual one. Yeah, so install the Unity hub. So you can easily download the Unity hub from here. Once you download and install it on, I would say for XR developments, a Windows system is preferable. Yeah, because you can test with the Quest link, but for Mac, you can't do that. You have to like build before you're able to test what you're building. So Yeah, so download the Unity hub. Once you download the Unity hub, you are going to have something like this, although it will be empty since you won't have any projects yet. Then you can come to installs, then install editor, or yeah, install editor. You might also get the suggestion to install the latest LTS, probably this or this, when you open the hub for the first time. So just ensure the version you're installing is the LTS version. Usually the latest LTS or the one just before it, that would work. So you just click install. Let's say, for instance, I want to install this version. I click install, and then it shows these options of the various modules to install with it. So I would suggest not installing the modules the first time you're installing, unless your internet is very strong, then you can try installing, because sometimes the modules fail and it can affect the whole installation. So here is the dev tool, that is the IDE, the Visual Studio IDE I mentioned. So it's because this is already installed, so it's not showing a checkbox to install it. So by default, you could just leave all this, and if you just click install, it is going to install just the editor. That's just the sorry. So just the Unity editor is going to install just that. Then once you are done, once you are done installing just the editor, then you can come back and say, oh, I want to install the modules now. Then you go to, once you install it, you're going to see it under the installs, just something like this. This is already installed there. That's why you can see something like this. So you just come to Unity, then you go to add modules, manage add modules. Then you see this option again, then you can now select the various things that are necessary, which is number one, the Visual Studio. Then you can also install this Android build support, since the Quest headset are Android based, and if you want to build for the headsets directly, you will need to select the Android build support. So those are the two important things that you need to select. Then you install them, or they are already installed there, so I can't install them again. Yeah. All right, so that's how. And when you install it, then you'll be able to open your project. You'll be able to create a new project. Once you click create new project, it's going to take you to this page. Let me go back so you can see that again. Just click new project. Once you click the new project, then it will show you some templates that you can use to start your development, and then you see, you can name your projects. You need to create a new a Unity account, by the way, which is free to do. You can create your accounts, then you get a free personal license to develop with. So you can do that. Then name your projects. You can decide to make it local. This cloud icon means it's connected to your accounts on the web, but it's not compulsory. So choosing the corresponding template. So for the templates, I would suggest this Universal 3D, which is the URP templates, Universal Render Pipeline templates, as the templates to go with. It's a 3D template, and VR is 3D, so you need to use a 3D templates to get started. This is a 2D, so you can't use this for a VR. This is high definition 3D. This has better graphics than this, but the fallback is that you can only build this for, that means your application will only run, while the asset is connected to the computer, and that might not be the desired thing. So, but this, you have more flexibility with this one. While it has less graphics options as this, you can also create like equally like stunning things with it. So so once you create your projects, then it's going to show you the editor. It's going to take you to this window where you have your empty scene. your default empty scene, then you can now add assets into it. So at the later workshop I'll be taking now, I'm going to like walk you through, all those processes, creating your project, and adding the various things that you need to add to the scene, and then testing, getting to a stage like this basically. So we're going to go through that. Yeah. So as for the packages, so to get started, to add the packages to your project, you come to Windows right at the top here, this menu, Windows, Package Manager. Then you go to the Unity registry. If you are using Unity 6, you can just see Unity registry here. If it's maybe Unity 2022, you might need to switch the drop down here that goes from to Unity registry. It might be on in projects by default. So, but since this is Unity 6, so you have a different layout in this place. So you can just search for XR in the Unity registry. So once you search for XR, you're going to see different options come up including the ones I mentioned in the slide. The OpenXR, XR toolkits, XR interaction toolkits, and XR plugin management. So you would need to install those to get started. And this is taking some time. Let's see. Okay, so this is so you see from the bottom of the list, you see the XR plugin management. I've already installed this, that's why it's giving me the option to remove. You install, then after installing, you need to recompile some things. Then you go to the XR interaction toolkit, you also install. After install, you can add some samples to check their default scene to play around. Yeah. So once you've done that, then you can come to close the window, then come to edit this time, then project settings. So here you are going to see the plugins that you installed. So you can see under XR plugin management here. Because I already set this up for VR, that is why you're able to, that's why all these are here are set up this way. So you see XR plugin management, XR interaction toolkits. So once you start the XR plugin management, you can just choose OpenXR, since that's what we are using to build. But if you are using the Meta SDK, you will need to choose the Oculus. But since it's OpenXR, we're using this demo, so just use OpenXR. The same thing. This is for the Android build. This is for the desktop build. So you can do that for both. And then once you select it, it's going to install the OpenXR package for you. And then this OpenXR option will appear. And then you can add this profile, so that's because OpenXR doesn't target, you can use it to target multiple different headsets, VR headsets, XR headsets, to ensure that it's targeting the one you're building for. In my case, the Meta, Quest 2 and the Quest 3. I chose this drop down and I selected the Oculus Touch controller and the Meta Quest Plus for so that it can support the headsets as I build for them. So I now have gone a bit into more technical details, but I hope you're able to follow a bit so far. I'll still go over some of these things during the advanced workshop. Yeah, so this is just a brief introduction to Unity and what yeah, you can do inside it. So let me just go back to the slide so you can round up. Yes, so you already seen some of this, and yeah. So as for Blender, the DCC, so this will be brief since this is a very quick hackathon. No? You have like limited time to build. Usually you won't, I wouldn't recommend modeling your assets from scratch using Blender. You can easily get assets from the websites that some of them are listed below here. This 3dnih.gov, you can get some, medical related assets of some molecules and various things that you might find like quite useful. Yes, you have Sketchfab to get, other forms of assets, maybe like 3D environments. I got the 3D environments from these websites, and then OpenGMAT also has some like good assets, maybe like sound effects that you can get, content from. So in the advanced workshop, I'm going to like be showing you like more things like how to properly import your assets, because as you get assets online, you might not be able to take them directly into Unity. You might need to make some adjustments. So we'll go through that. So how to get the assets into Unity through Blender, and how to import into Meta exports for Unity, how to work with the textures. And like I mentioned, you can use 3D asset generators. There are some some websites online that you can use to generate 3D models as well if you are not finding like ones that you like, or the particular ones you want. So you can use those to generate your 3D assets as well. The challenge with those, like I mentioned before, is that they might be a bit heavy, and they are still they are not quite there yet, like in terms of like the quality of the 3D assets. Yeah. So we'll go more into details about like the using the assets, adding all the various interaction, like creating our own simple scene essentially during this workshop. All right, so thank you very much, guys. If you have some questions, like I don't know if there's still time to like take questions.
All right,
Go for
Abimbola, thank you very much for the wonderful briefing and your thoughtful lessons on everything about Unity and the Excel tools and AI as well. So just from the comment section, I could see some people have a bit of question. The number one question here is, thank you, Mr. Facilitator. I was about to ask for the plugins too. So, okay, so about that, the necessary plugins will be shared across to you. From just stay tuned on the community, on the Discord community, and as well on the WhatsApp group chat. And then from just to give you what is going on here, we've been taking snapshot of people that have been online for the section, and I would like to communicate strongly to people that are still using initials and nicknames and just short names to kindly make sure they're using their name well correctly spelled on the Zoom meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Abimbola. So,
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
so Abimbola, thank you very much. Before we move on, I would like to welcome. Okay, so within our midst, we have a representative from Red Leaf Solution Limited. The Red Leaf, as you know, is one of the companies that sponsor this event. They are the one that make it live, and they are the one that make it happen for us to be here. So, without wasting much of our time, I would like to first introduce you to Red Leaf, then call on the Red Leaf representative to give us a bit of explanation on what Red Leaf is here. So, founded in 2021, Red Leaf is the leading provider of cutting-edge extra low voltage ELV. I think you must have heard a little bit. It's an infrastructure solution across West Africa. This expertise spans security safety system, and structural cabling, IT, UPS, and more. So powering innovation in education, government, and construction and industry. So for their support has really helped us to build the kind of tech-driven futures this hackathon stands for. So thank you, Redleaf, for backing the next generation of science innovation in Africa. So I'll be giving the room to Mr. Thompson. I don't know, Mr. Thompson, if you can hear me. So, Mr. Thompson, the floor is yours. So you can just come up and just give us a bit of introduction of Redleaf and just what you do and how the sort of partnership you have with IGH. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Abimbola. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this. We at Redleaf are proud to be associated with this particular event. Redleaf, our company, was founded in 2011. We are Nigerian-based, and our office is located on 9 McGregor Road in Ikoyi. We also have offices in Abuja, and our operation covers the entire West African sub-region. We serve in sectors such as construction, industry, government, education, residential, and commercial buildings. Our core offerings include security and ELV systems, and that's stuff like CCTV, that's closed circuit television, access control, fire detection and suppression, intruder alarm and barrier systems, public address and evacuation, as well as home automation. We are also involved with ICT and telecommunication services and structured cabling, as well as uninterruptible power supply and lighting control, building automation, energy management, and of course, we carry out professional engineering design and supports. What's our mission and vision? Our mission is to deliver superior value through integrated extra low voltage system design and engineering and ensuring exceptional customer experiences. Our vision is to become the premier ELV systems integrator in West Africa. Like I mentioned earlier, our head office is on number 9 McGregor Road in Ikoyi. We've carried out services for our clients and customers in other parts of West Africa, including Ghana, Sierra Leone, and even beyond West Africa, where we are currently working in the DR Congo. Some of our notable projects and clients include Ikeja Shopping Center, a project we completed around 2015, as well as the Usapa Shopping Mall. We installed all the safety, security, and evacuation systems there. Then there's the main one tier 3 data center, which was the first tier 3 data center in Nigeria. We completed that around 2014, 2015. And BAT is British American Tobacco. Their head office has the BAT Rising Sun in Ikoyi. We've worked on Achimota and Kumasi Mall in Ghana as well. In addition, we are currently working on the Central Bank Clinic in Lagos, Open Access Data Center, Equinix Data Center. Equinix took over main one some months ago, and we've successfully upgraded their security systems across Nigeria and Ghana. And of course, there are several other customers which time will not allow us to mention. So in summary, we are a well-established integrated solutions provider in Nigeria and West Africa, and we deliver ELV security, ICT, UPS, and automation services, and we've been at this since 2011. We have a strong track record of high-profile clients and key infrastructure projects across the sub-region. We look forward to working with any one of you going forward. Like I said earlier, we are proud to be associated with what you are doing now. Thank you very much. Over.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sampson. So, my colleague, Caleb Curie has a bit of questions for you. So I don't know if you can spare 5 minutes of your time just to give us a clarity on that.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sampson. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. So on behalf of the applicants and the participants, I would just like to ask if there is room for internship. I don't know if anybody in the chat would like, after hearing everything Mr. Sampson has said about Red Leaf, anybody who would like to inquire about an internship, or if you are looking for a job or something, like, can they also apply for a role? And also, not just that, for those who don't have experience in IT, in terms of IT, is there a possibility that they can apply and also get possible training, working on the job, something like that?
Okay, thank you very much. Our company, we are very keen on training, and particularly corporate social responsibility. We partner with a training institute called Etiwa, which is actually a sister company of ours. So there's something we are rolling out very soon. We are looking for very young, determined, and bright, intelligent Nigerians to send on some training courses at Etiwa. This will form part of our corporate social responsibilities. Yes, we are open to this, and I can leave my number here or our email address for those who are interested to reach out to us.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sampson. So, just as Mr. Sampson has said, there is room for possible internship for those who are interested to intern at Red Leaf. So, Mr. Sampson, you said you're going to drop your number and email address. Okay, he has dropped it. So you send an email to info@redleafsolution.com if you are looking for a possible internship role at Red Leaf. So you can copy the email and then send your cover letter, your job, your CV to them. So, so those who are interested, please check the chat. The email address is there for those who are interested. Thank you very much, Mr. Sampson. So, Gafa, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Kerry. Thank you very much, Mr. Sampson. And to everyone that are looking for opportunity at Red Leaf, duly noted that the opportunities open to people that interfere and interact with Red Leaf social media. Like, it's kind of compulsory. Interact with social media, say thank you to the sponsors. The link to their medias is up there in the chat. So give them the shout out. Without them, this would have happened. So we hear a lot of thanks. Thank you again, everyone. So before we move on, I would like to talk about the code of conduct and mode of operation again, so we can all take this into action. So first, the naming. So it's going to affect you a lot if your name is not properly spelled out on the Zoom call, because yeah, attendance have been taken, and it affects everything you do for the hackathon. And also your activities are being taken note of, your interaction on social medias, and the comments you give. Shout out to the sponsors, everything. It's all inclusive. It's something we have to do to get to this point. So moving forward, that also comes into place. Make sure you're doing the right thing. Yeah, I'm wishing you all the best of luck. And okay, so moving on, I know you must have all been seeing what is going on the Discord channel. Some have been added to the group, and you may be wondering what is happening. So this is just to tell you that in order to accommodate everyone and make sure everybody participates evenly and unbiased, we decided to work with a new team structure. So the way it's going to work now is everybody will be grouped into a group of 5 generally. So each group consists of at least 40 people or 30 people, depending on the numbers. So much briefing and much explanation will be explained to you on the Discord channel. So just stay tuned, and your task also is also going to be shared across with you. And then we'll also give you room to create, to negotiate and to network with yourself, introduce yourself in each respective group you find yourself, and talk to everybody there. And maybe tonight we allow you and give you access to create a pool and select a team lead. So that is by the way. And before we wrap up this meeting, we have already at our time, so apologies for that. We have a lot to cover just for the week, and I saw a particular question on the chat. Someone asked, let me confirm. So, so someone particularly asked, do I need to have coding knowledge before I can be able to do this? So in regards to what has been happening, when you take a careful look at the theme of the hackathon, we have the XR and AI genomics hackathon. So when you pay attention to that, you can see there's AI in there. We also know that we have limited frame and limited time to achieve this. It took some people months and years to complete this goal. But with the introduction of AI, things have been working smoothly and fine. So what takes a longer time can now be achieved in a shorter frame of time. So that is why we are adding AI to the whole team. Now, what the AI is supposed to do is to help you leverage on skills you don't necessarily have. For instance, now, Abimbola was talking about. Abimbola gave a candid advice that he wouldn't recommend that you build all your prefab from the beginning, from the start. So you can leverage on different AI tools to generate prefab. You can, for the Unity scripting part, you can also leverage on, for instance, ChatGPT to give you a code that can help you perform a simple task over there. So you don't necessarily have to have the skill, just pay attention to what we've been teaching and show a bit of interest. If you have questions, you can ask. We can also help you through when it comes to working on your project and assignment. So regarding the projects, today also we'll be dropping list of tasks for everyone on the channel. And also note that the task you'll be doing also contributes to your pass mark to the final event. So if there is question, you can drop the question in the group chat, and also you can raise your hand if you need to speak so we can address the questions together. Any question? Okay, I can see Damilari Taiwo is raising up his hand. Damilari Taiwo.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
All right, good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you so much for the wonderful section, especially from Mr. Abimbola. So my question is number one, the slide for yesterday presentation have not been sent yet because
Okay,
Judith, and also we want to ask the slide for today presentation also, can we have them so that in case we go through them and we have questions, that can even help us to put it up in the Discord channel. And number two is the grouping. Are we going to have our grouping today, or when should we be expecting the grouping, so that we will know when to reach out to other group members so that we can start the connections and start knowing each other? Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, so if you check carefully on your Discord channel already, you would notice that amongst the channel, you see a group under just text channel. So when you go to the channel category, the text channel category, you will see a group. That is the group you fall into. That is the group you belong. Okay. All right. So I think it's better I share my screen so you can understand fully what is happening. Okay. Can you see my screen? All right. So these are the channels list. This is so when you come when you this is showing this way because this is my channel. But when you log in, when you access your Discord channel, you will see under this text channel. This is the channel category. So under this text channel, when you open it up, you'll see general help and question. Then under this team formation, okay, so the same thing, still under this text channel, you'll see team formation. Then you have access to either team one, team two, team three, team four, team five, or team six. Whichever team you fall into is what you will see. Because I am a moderator, that is why I'm able to see everything and have access to what is happening. But for you, every participant, the team you will see is the team you fall into. So you can begin to interact and get to know each other. Then by 7 p.m. tonight, we would open up the voice channel. This is the voice channel for the Discord channel. We'll open up the voice channel for people to interact as well and maybe ask questions. If there is more to ask. You can communicate with your teammate and everyone. So I can see someone from team two just drop a message. Say, so and again, just to address this, we've taken the initiative to follow another access. So just because we need to accommodate everyone and make sure everybody participates fully, we have to go with the new development. And for people that are missing in the group, just take into consideration that we are taking attendance, and for some reason, some people didn't make it to some group. Also, make sure you're following the proper instruction correctly. For instance, for the grouping to be successful, we're looking across multiple documentation just to make sure we are admitting the right people into the program. Now, the name you have registered on the form, if it differs from the name you're using on the Discord channel, for instance, I'll quickly look for someone because I'm very sure I'm going to get someone. Okay, for instance, now these are some of the participants online. Now, how do I recognize this person and add the person to the group? It is a difficult task, and this is another participant. So, and then when I scroll further, I would most definitely look at say, this is another participant. This is Dr. Gift. Now, how am I supposed to find Dr. Gift and assign Dr. Gift to the proper team? So these are one of the things that is causing disparities in grouping people. So I hope you all understand. Our first priority is to make sure everybody is selected and on merit, not on. We just make sure everybody are on ground and are ready to work with us. So if by peradventure you still haven't used your correct information, please, you still have time to do that before the end of before the end of today. So if you have other questions, you can also table it on the Discord community and WhatsApp community as well. So I'll stop sharing my screen so I can attend to other questions. So let me see. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm okay, please the Discord link. I guess I'm not the group because I can't see all of this navigation at my end. Okay. So this is Moses Guawa. You can't see yourself in the team yet. Go back and refresh your Discord and see if you appear in anything. If you don't, ask the mentors in the Discord community and in the Discord channel and table your problem. Okay. Also, I'm not in Team 3, but I've been added to that team since. Okay, so for people that find themselves in different team that's in not okay, so if you're previously in Team 3 and you can't find yourself in Team 3, that is because we are using another structure. So before we only have 4 people in a team, but now we have more than 4 people in a team. We have close to 10 to 20 people in a team. So, and we have to reshuffle every other thing. And so now confirm the team which you belong to and work with the various persistent applicants that are there. I'm sure we are trying to achieve the same thing. Okay. So, yeah, we have 5 teams total now, not 6. We have 5 teams total now. All right. Any other question? Okay, since there's no question, let me proceed. You can still drop your question if you have any, and it will be attended to. Okay, Eniola Alex is having his hand raised up. Okay. Eniola Alex, please kindly drop your question in the chat and it will be addressed to. Okay, the question here is how many teams will be admitted for the final event? It's still 5 teams. So what we've done is now we have 5 teams general, and within those 5 teams, you would qualify 4 people in each team. So whichever team you fall into, make sure you give it your best and follow every rules and regulation. Do your task and submit on time, because those are the criteria we will use in selecting the people that will come on site. So it's going to be fully transparent and just know that your attendance and instructions and everything are being looked at and your social activities. I hope that answers that. Okay. So how many percent attendance is required to meet up making the team? Okay, so generally, the first set of criteria is going to be individual attendance. So we are trying not to put a team in a constraint. So we could have few people that are serious in the team, and we could at the same time we can also have people that are not operational or fully functional in the same team. So what that is going to mean is the first set of qualification criteria is going to be individual attendance and your activity. So we can't let someone suffer for the sin of another person. That is just how we're going to do. So, and then the group criteria is going to be the task that is being given. To address the next question, so how are participants qualified for the final round? So it is by best performing. So everything, like I said, everything you do here carries a point. So at the end of the day, we'll collect the points together and review it and see the people that edge. So unfortunately, this is a competition. Not everyone will be able to make it to the final thing. But so far, you're giving it your best. It will definitely show in whatever you're doing. You stand a chance to cut into the final stage. Okay. So address the next question. Good afternoon, well done. So how many people from the team will be selected? So generally, we currently have 5 teams now. Each team, from each team, 4 people will be selected for the final event. Okay. Can we have a list criteria so we have clear list to keep track? Okay, if you have been paying attention so far, so just if when you come to rules and on the Discord channel, if you come to the rules and fact, rules and FAQ, so you will see a lot of pinned messages there that is showing what you need to do and how you need to perform. Okay, so here I can see attendance is mandatory. That is the first item. The second is your Zoom name must match your registered name. Those are common things that can get people disqualified. So the third one is use the official Zoom background. So we should be able to see your picture. We should be able to see who we are interacting with. Without that, it's like communicating with a ghost. Then your decorum during meeting your mind, answering questions. You get your activities also contribute to everything that forms the part of the system. Because, for instance, today meeting we had 3 different snapshots. That is at the start of the event, then midway into the event, and just 5 minutes away, we took a snapshot. So all these things contribute and factor into your final performance of this hackathon stage, the remote stage of the hackathon. Okay, so let me take you through questions. All right. Okay, regarding what you said, this is from Ayomide Jagade. Regarding what you said, sir, in a situation where your team falls behind on a task, which your adventure wasn't your fault, peradventure wasn't your fault, what would be done, sir? Okay, in a situation where your team falls behind on a task, and okay, so like I said earlier, there are some individual based criteria and there are group based criteria. So it falls on the group to make sure they do the right thing. That is why we're opening up the group for you to select a team lead. Everybody gets to introduce yourself. Look at someone that is good enough to handle the team, a prominent character that can push the team forward. Part of this is also to build your team working spirit. It's also part of the criteria because this work can be done by one person. We all know that. So it's we have to ingrain the ability for you to work with a team. It's not a one-man business. So one person can be the Unity developer, can be the Blender artist, and still be the scientist, and still be the story writer at the same time. So you have to work in hands. And if a group doesn't perform together, by default, it may not be your fault, but it still falls on you that your group isn't performing. So make sure you communicate openly at your group. If anybody is falling behind or not doing the proper task, you can give a shout out to you can report to the mentors so it can be taken note of. So rather than letting your group sing together, you can put out the bad eggs and the mentor will address it. You know that okay, by default, this person is exempted from the group, so the group can move forward. I hope that is clear. Okay. So is there any other question? All right. At the absence of no question, we'll put this event on hand. The timeline for the event has been posted to all platforms, so you know when you're having classes, when you'll be having classes. If there is any change and any development, it will be communicated effectively in various channels, your WhatsApp community, your Discord channel. So once again, we'll be reposting the link to the Discord community. If you are not on the Discord community, please join, because that is where majority of the tasks will be posted and a lot of activities are going down there. The WhatsApp community is for a quick, rapid information system. So if you have to report to you or give you a quick update about something, you should be able to reach out to you in the WhatsApp community. That is the essence of the WhatsApp community. The Discord channel is where the real event is happening. So if you are on the WhatsApp community and not on the Discord channel, please find a way to do that. We'll be, okay, someone is asking for the Discord community. That is going to be dropped immediately at the end of this section. So find your way there and make sure you follow the rules right now. And remember, your interaction on the social media also gives you edge over others. So for instance, if by peradventure I see someone that's active on various social media, making a repost and doing every other thing, it's easily for me to say, okay, this person is more active than another person. So it's just give you added advantage. I hope you understand that. Okay, can we have all members of team six applicants up to the final? Okay, I'm trying to understand this question. Can all member of team six applicants make up to the final? Does it imply we are competing amongst ourselves to meet up to the final team? Indirectly, you're not so-called competing with each other. So the ideology of this is to pick out the best out of the rest. I'm sure we're all best at what we do. But it's a competition, and for that reason, some people will outperform some people. And because this program is a fast-paced program, we need people that are ready to work and that are ready to give it all it takes. So to put a clear answer to your question, one thing is your commitment matters a lot. So in a group, it's certain you see some people that will fall back on some certain commitments, duties. So that is where you edge your game and gather your points together. The major competition is between teams. And at the end of the day, there is going to be a final winner. So the 5 teams that will be coming to the on-site events would then have the opportunity to compete against each other to have one imagined winner. I hope that is clear. Okay, so most of us don't have our name on the socials. How do we go about it? And also don't get flagged as bots. Because Instagram is really dicey with challenging it. So I use Instagram as well, and every other people use Instagram. So when you go there, just harmless comments won't get you flagged. Simple like, simple interaction won't get you flagged. Except you're doing the wrong thing. We all know how the social works and every other thing. So don't bomb, just do the needful. It's an official page you're interacting with. You're not blasting or sending broadcasts to, you're not sending broadcasts to a single user account. It's an organization account, so it won't be flagged. Okay, some of us we don't use our name as it is on Discord or social media handle due to our businesses. How will the social media activity be tracked for active person? Okay, yeah, wonderful observation. For that reason now, okay, we'll share an Excel sheet on the channel where you can put your social media handle, the one whichever you belong to. So whether X or this or that, just put the social media handle, and that should also help us in tracking you on or like to track down your performance on the socials as well. I think that is really a wonderful observation. Okay. We'll work on that. Okay, any other questions? All right, at the answers of question, we'll call it a day for now, and every other information will be passed across to you effectively on various communication channels, majorly the Discord and the WhatsApp. Yeah, your tasks are being worked on and everything will be shared across with you. So by 7 p.m. tonight, we'll open up the voice channel in the Discord community to properly orientate you on how you move on with your work, what you have to do, the stages and the processes it's going to take. Thank you for now.